from pretty much all over the world. Vaughn, I see that you're here. I'm going to unmute you for just a second. There you go. You had some pretty funny things. Greetings, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you?
We are good. We're happy to have a lot of people. It looks like people are popping on all over the place.
Excellent.
Tell you what we're going to do. I'm going to go ahead and mute you, Vaughn, and you can unmute yourself if you have something fascinating you want to say. The first thing that I would like to do, let me just show my screen. While we're warming up here, I want to invite, I know most of you have already liked Kazoo on Facebook, but if you haven't, I'm going to post in the chat window, and you can just go there and give us a like. We would appreciate that very much. We love Facebook. We're quite social, so let me get that typed in. I'm having technical difficulties. Casey, can you type that in for me?
I'm on it.
Thank you. Oh, there we go. I got it. So who likes Facebook? Anybody out there participate in that? Have anything going on?
Hi, I like Facebook. I'm Karen from Mexico.
Hi, Karen. What part of Mexico are you in?
Cozumel.
Cozumel. A mí me gusta mucho.
Yes, yes.
I'll be down there in July for a wedding. Probably not planning to have a wedding in July, but anyway, that's coming up, so we're pretty pumped about that. Who else is working on Facebook? Anybody? Tony Norvega, I know that you're on there all the time. Tony's calling us from an island off of Portugal, correct?
Portugal? There's somebody that's in the group. Okay.
Yes, Portugal. Let's see, Robin Miller is here from Mexico, so that's pretty exciting. Rocky Point, I was just in Rocky Point for New Year's Eve, so that was super fun. If you guys get a chance to go down there, we've got some fabulous realtors that can help you out down there. And who else is calling? We had somebody sign up from the Philippines. That was kind of exciting. I don't know if they're here yet. Anybody else calling from an exotic location?
Well, Newfoundland's exotic.
Newfoundland. Yeah, you're pretty darn proud of that, Newfoundland. Vaughn is our newest client at Kazoo, so we're excited to see his website transform. Rhonda, where are you calling from?
So we have to be a little bit
well, we're gonna mute everybody here in 3 minutes. This is just sort of a chat, meet and greet, so don't worry, we won't have this interaction. We just like to play with you guys a bit. Michelle, where are you calling us from? Michelle? To start singing Michelle, My Belle. How about you, Barb? Where are you at?
Hey, I'm from Qualicum Beach.
From where? I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. Carlington Beach?
Qualicum Beach on Vancouver Island.
Ah, Vancouver Island. I bet your weather's, is it a little chilly right now?
It is, unfortunately.
Well, come on down to Phoenix. That's where we're at, and it's beautiful here, bright and sunny.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, come and give us a visit. Anybody else want to share where they're calling from? Going once, going twice. All right, guys. So we are going to go ahead and jump right in. I'm going to mute everyone so that we have a clear channel going, and so we'll do that first. And Casey, if you can help me, as new people are coming in just a little bit late. I think maybe some people are on Mexican time. There we go. Casey, can you go ahead and say something so I can make sure I didn't mute you accidentally?
Yeah, I can just turn my mute off whenever I like.
There we go. All right, guys. Well, it's exactly 10 o'clock, and we are all here to find out how sexy is your blog, because blogging isn't normally something that we think of as a sexy activity, and we're going to hopefully get you excited today, spice up your interest, and have some fun with it. So let's jump right in. as my thing is not working the way I thought it would. There we go. Okay, so when we think of sex, we probably think of bed, right? So we want to talk about who is currently in bed together. And the first person is Cyber Kazoo. And I know that many of you are currently clients. Some of you are prospects that we've talked to in the past. And some of you are brand new. You maybe got here because of a message that was sent to you by Point2. And so you may not really know who we are. So we want to just take a brief moment if we can and explain that to you. So let's take a look at this next slide. Cyber Kazoo raises a ruckus for real estate pros around the world. And we really pride ourselves in having clients from Des Moines, Iowa to Dubai. And we like to do internet marketing that makes money because let's face it, we're all in this. It's fun and work is great, but we're in it to make some money and support our families and live the type of lifestyle that we're interested in living. So we would invite you to check out our website. We've added a lot of new pages this year. 2017 is a super exciting year for us. And so I want to just show you some new pages so that after the seminar you can maybe pop over there and take a look. We're talking about blogs today, and so we've added some new blog pages talking about wowing with WordPress, a really cool blog portfolio where you can see some of the new blogs that we have. Also the blog pricing, and then our Cyber Kazoo blog. And we're going to, thank you guys for liking the pages. We appreciate that. We're going to look at our blog throughout this program and show you some examples. And then the other thing that we're super excited about is we've added some frequently asked question pages, both about Point2 and about Cyber Kazoo. So as you have questions, please make sure that you send them to us because chances are if you're thinking them, someone else is as well. Alfredo, I see that you're having trouble hearing. Is there anybody else that is? Everybody else able to hear? Okay, not sure, Alfredo, maybe the speaker's not on your particular device. Maybe take a look at that. So who else is Cyber Kazoo? Who the heck am I and why am I here talking? My name is Kathy Stevens and I'm the founder of Cyber Kazoo. I'm also the mistress of marketing and I am the ultimate consumer. Those of you that know me know I love to shop. I love to shop in person. I love to shop online. I love to shop for shoes. I love to shop for real estate. And so I come into this whole thing with a very consumer-driven perspective. We also have on the line Casey, who's the king of collaboration here at Cyber Kazoo. It's a hard word to say, collaboration. And Casey, do you want to take just a minute and introduce yourself so everybody knows who you are?
Sure. I do the project management, and I'm also heading up a lot of these changes on the blog and the FAQ pages, just trying to make sure that we provide as much information and options for you as possible.
Awesome. Thanks, Casey. So the next person in bed is Point2. And the majority of you are probably familiar with Point2. Can some of you just tell me how long you've been with Point2? Just type that in. I know Tony, I think, has probably been with it since the very beginning. Some of you are brand new. Robin's been 10 years. Alfredo, 10 years. Melanie Daly, wow, 14 years. You might, oh, no, Vaughn's been 15. He may take the prize. Point2 is an amazing, amazing platform for real estate professionals to be able to get more exposure for their site. And they've got a few statistics that we'll just go over really quickly. They now have 3.43 million visits to Point2 homes a year. Those of you in Mexico will be excited. There's 82% more views in Mexico, 70% more views in Puerto Rico, and also 112 more saved listing alerts. So Point2 is really growing, and we're excited about a lot of the things that we're doing. And quite frankly, we're excited to be, and I'm using air quotation marks here, in bed with them. So who's the last person in this bed? We're actually, I don't know how many of you know what a menage a trois is. I couldn't find a picture of 3 people in bed, but there's 3 of us in bed here. So it's Cyber Kazoo, Point2 and WordPress. And many of us are familiar with WordPress, but some of us aren't. So Casey, can you just explain really quickly why we should care that Point2 is in bed with WordPress?
Sure. So many of you may know WordPress is the most popular web development platform in the world, and this is by far. This is in terms of overall users, in terms of web developers, in terms of ease and functionality. And the reason that they're the #1 platform is because they've sort of redefined it. They've made it a lot easier for people with less technical heavy skill sets to establish a presence on the web. This results in a total of over 66 million websites. I think that's a little dated. I think at this point it's probably maybe even 75 million websites, but regardless, just a vast quantity of sites on the web, and over 40% of all blogs on the web using WordPress. And again, a lot of people that run blogs choose WordPress because it's so user-friendly and because it's something that's easily accessible to them. I know a lot of you are transitioning from a standard Point2 blog, so the goal of using WordPress was to make it easy on you. Point2 really wanted to make sure that you had a smooth transition into something that you could still be comfortable with.
Awesome. And Karen just asked a really good question, if we could send the last graphic. We're actually going to be providing this entire slideshow to you, so feel free to snap, screenshot one if there's a particular one that you like, but know that we'll get you the entire thing. We're also recording this session, so it will be available afterwards if there's parts of it that you want to re-listen to. So we talked a little bit about where our clients are, Philippines, U.S., Canada, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic. We had a lot of people sign up for this webinar from the Dominican Republic, so welcome to you. Mexico, bienvenidos, Costa Rica. We're really excited about this platform and its worldwide reach. So the way that this is going to be fun is if you guys participate. It's not really any fun if it's just Casey and I as talking heads. So as we go through, Casey and I will be watching the text. I know you're all on mute, but you can participate through the chat box. And here's how that works. At the bottom of your GoToMeeting, you just hit chat, and it will open it up, and you can type your message. And we have to keep you guys on mute because if we open it up, we're going to hear everything. Vaughn made a funny comment a little bit ago. Somebody signed on and their dog was barking in the background, and he said, "Who let the dogs out?" which gave me a chuckle. But we do want you guys to participate, and we want to have fun. So there's several kinds of people here, and there are a few people that may be in blog denial. So type something to us in the chat box if blogging is just something that you want to stick your head in and deny that it exists. Is there anybody out there that's feeling like that? Or, oh, Marty's in deny. Hi, Marty. You've been with Point2 forever as well. Marty was one of the original. She's down in Texas, martyp.com. A lot of people are in denial about the blog, and the fact is it's a part of life. It's not going to go away. Karen's saying that she's in denial. So my guess is that a lot of the people are probably not here that are in denial because they're just going to say, oh, it's going to go away. Vaughn says he's clueless. He's at least honest with us. Let's take a look at the second kind of people, and that would be people that are in blog boredom. So they know that it's out there, but it just bores them to tears and they don't really do anything with it. Is there anybody that's feeling that way at all? Yeah, Connie says she's blogged until it changed to WordPress and now she's having a hard time. Well, hopefully we'll be able to help you. Stella says she wants to put it on autopilot. Wouldn't that be nice? Stella, let's figure that out and we can sell it. Who out there feels like they're a money-making blogging superhero? Okay, this is where it goes completely silent. Completely silent. Let's see, that's your goal is to be, I like that. Marty says laugh out loud. Some people have lost some posts during the migration. And the reality is we're going to be able to cover about 10% of the information that we have during this hour. So we've organized it into what we think is the most important, but there are going to be questions that we don't get to. Lanice is saying with training, anything is possible. Yes, Lanice, you are absolutely right. And so that's what we're going to jump into today and take a look. What we don't want is for you to get caught with your pants down. And so what the heck does that mean, getting caught with your pants down? Well, in our opinion, it means having the old blog format, which is this. Oops, wait, I went too fast. There we go. This was the old Point2 blog. And, you know, it served its purpose for a number of years, but now it's time for it to be out. And this is the new blog. This is obviously one that has been customized. This is not how it comes sort of out of the box. It's one that we've worked on considerably with Warren Brander down in Puerto Vallarta, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later in the seminar. But you guys can see that there's a huge difference, and the very fact, Casey, if you can talk about how much more open WordPress is than the old Point2 blog and why, even though the change is a little painful for us, it's really going to be worth it in the end.
Sure. So part of WordPress being open is that it has more tools on the back end. It's got a lot more plugins, and some of those plugins include SEO tools that are going to help you understand how you're competing for those keywords, what users are going to see when they find your site on Google or anything like that. It's also going to give you rankings and let you know you should do this a little differently. You should use the keyword more or less times. You should add an image that, is also tagged as your keyword. Little things that we might forget on a regular basis, WordPress is going to help us remember. And that's really useful for people who are new to the game, or even for people who do it regularly and sometimes just forget. And it's a very, like I said, simple format. It's built right into the back of your Point2. You're not paying for this separately. So again, they're just trying to make that transition very easy for you.
And I think that's key, that you're not paying for this separately. This is something that they did. They didn't raise the prices. They just included. So we're pretty pumped about that. So let's move on quickly to what we're going to talk about today, our agenda. So the first thing we're going to talk about is how the blog can spice up your SEO. Then we're going to talk about sizzling your site, making Google go gaga. I think we all want to make Google go gaga, right? We want to give your listings a shout out because the blog is really good for your listings. We want to convert your visitors like crazy. That's the whole point, is getting leads, right? We don't really care how pretty our site is or how beautiful our blog is. We want to get visitors, and we want those visitors to take action. We want to serve up shareable social media, because we all know that it's social. And then you want to expose your personality, and I think that's one of the, for me at least, one of the most fun parts about the blog. So we're going to quickly talk about a lot of these things. The questions are coming in, and I appreciate you guys firing them off. I'm trying to multitask as best I can, so during the parts when Casey's talking, I'll take a look at the questions, and we'll try to get to everything, and whatever we don't, we'll put in our frequently asked questions. So keep firing them away. Don't feel like just because we're not answering them right that second, we're not interested, because we totally are. So, Casey, on to you. We're going to talk about spicing up your SEO.
Okay. Let me go through. Kathy, are you still going to be navigating the slideshow?
Yes.
Excellent. Okay, so I just answered a few questions in there. It is really nice to see your questions flowing through. These are all really, really good questions. And if you ask a technical question while I'm talking, I might just go ahead and answer it. If it's non-technical, Kathy will probably go ahead and answer it. So what we're trying to do in terms of SEO, one of the most important things you can do to boost the credibility of your site is to have other sites that link to it. Now, traditionally, the Point2 blog was built in, and it was a part of the existing site. So even though it linked to your listings pages or to your content pages, it wasn't giving you the same credibility as if a separate site had linked to you. Now that we're using the WordPress model, the WordPress blog counts as a completely separate site. So when this separate site links to you, it gives your site a little bit of credibility. A lot of those links are going to be links to individual listing pages, but they could also be links to content pages. So for example, if you're talking about why people retire in your area or the tax advantages of your area, something like that, you can refer people to those specific pages or even to your home page, different things like that. That can be really useful. The blog is also going to allow you to compete for many, many more hot search terms. When we build a site for people, most people are going to have between 3 and 5 content pages, and that means you're limited to 3 to 5 content pages worth of keywords. Blogging is something you can do every couple of weeks, every week, every day, every month, however often you're feeling it. And that's going to allow you to introduce a lot more topics and a lot more things that people are going to be regionally interested in. It's going to allow you to expand your audience and connect with many, many more people. Now, even though not all of those terms are going to be directly related to real estate, keep in mind this site serves as a way to funnel traffic to your site. So that's going to allow you to just get the interest of more people and then connect them with a parallel interest, which is going to be real estate, retirement, golf course communities, whatever it is that your area has to offer and whatever it is that you have to offer. And the last thing is making your audience hungry for the next thing that you have to say. This is something that happens once you've been posting for a while, once you kind of once you find your voice, once you establish yourself as a local expert. This is going to really help build up your credibility, and people are going to start looking to you. This is how a lot of blogs work. I don't know if any of you follow food blogs, fitness blogs, anything like that. I do. I follow several of them. Travel blogs, all these could be really useful, and you tend to get attached to someone's voice, to their perspective, and you want to hear what they have to say about something that you may have heard about, something that you may already think you know about. You may become attached to this person's voice and want to hear what they have to say about it. So that's the goal with your blog, is to become a unique voice, have a lot of fun things to say, and then link a lot of those people back to your site.
And I think that's especially important as we have more people buying globally and internationally and not just in their backyard. And so if you're the person that has the most unique perspective on your area, people are going to follow you. They are going to engage with you. And when they're ready to look at real estate in your area, guess who they're going to call? It's going to be you. So it's just an incredibly useful tool. The next thing we're going to talk about is how the blog can help your site sizzle. And Casey, that's you.
Sure. So we talked about the SEO, and the SEO is something that's going to apply to your blog and to your site. Now, the referral traffic is when the blog is going to funnel some of its traffic to your site. That is something that's going to happen as long as you're keeping your topics in parallel with your blog. So again, historically, you would post a listing and then people would follow your blog listing to the listing on your site. That's still going to work the same way. We're still going to want to use a very similar strategy as to before, and that's going to connect people to your site. However, you can, through these other topics, find lots of different ways to pique their interest in specific listings or in the content that you have to offer. So anytime you can link back to your site, you're going to get more referrals from your blog. Positioning yourself as a local expert is going to be really, really important. This is part of using those additional terms. So blogging about just whatever it is that happens to be going on, local festivals, local parades, local events, just anything that your community has going on. The new golf course is, changing its maintenance strategy. People love little details about the world that they happen to live in. All of us live in a microcosm, even though we're connected to the grander scheme of things. We're all interested in, what's going on in our community. So this is a good way to just connect with a lot of those people and stay connected with them. Even after you've sold them a home or a condo, they can still be bringing traffic to your site or sending their friends links, and that's going to continue to increase the volume of people that visit you and the volume of people that are interested in reading what you have to say and buying what you have to sell. And of course, the site ranking is going to be really important. Although we think we only want people who are interested in buying something, the truth is that we do want a much broader audience. If you have 10,000 people looking at your site, that's way better than 1,000 people. The reason being so is even if the same percentage of people, or even if the same total number of people are going to buy something, Google is going to see a site that has 10,000 visitors as far more valuable than a site that only has 1,000 visitors. So by appealing to those wider search terms and connecting with a larger audience, Google is going to see what you have to say as far, far more valuable.
Okay, next up, who wants to make Google go gaga? I think pretty much all of us do. That's the point of the game. And so Casey's going to talk about why the WordPress blog will help you in that endeavor.
So the linking strategy of going back and forth between your blog and your site, linking people to individual listings, to retirement info, to tax info, what that's going to do is it's going to create a reputation reference. If your blog has a lot of traffic on a regular basis and it's pointing to your site, it is considered a much more credible reference for your site than if a blog with no traffic or if no sites are pointing to your site. So this is a good way to act as your own ally, as your own advocate, as your own best friend. So creating a blog and making it successful is going to bring a lot more credibility to your site in the eyes of Google. So if you can get a following there, anything that your blog points to is going to matter more.
Casey, for those of us that aren't as techy as you are, myself included, can you just explain a little bit better how these two sites are separate but yet interconnected? Because it's different than the way the old Point2 worked.
Sure. So separate, they're going to look the same because you're going to have, mysite.com, and then the blog is going to be blog.mysite.com. So they're going to look very similar, but from a Google perspective and from any other search engine's perspective, they are two separate websites. So the thing that actually connects them is the links. Your site could technically link to any site on the internet, but instead of doing that, your blog is choosing to link to your website. So it's trying to say, I think this website has something you might be interested in, or this website has something that is worth your time. So by drawing in the traffic based on local events and tax advantages, golf courses, whatever it is that you're using to draw people's attention here, you're assuming that a portion of that audience might be interested in following through and reading more about some similar content on your site. The goal is to avoid becoming like a dead end. You don't want any site that doesn't link outward. People don't come to the web to kind of just watch a video and that's it. Like YouTube automatically cycles through to another video. If you're listening to music, it automatically cycles through to another song. So your blog and just about any page you go to is going to link to other pages and other blog entries and other resources. But if your blog is continually linking to your site, then it's creating this ongoing relationship, and Google's going to index your site. Google's going to understand all the different ways to get to your site and all the different pages that you have on both sites, your blog and your main Point2 site, and it's going to have a better understanding of who you are, what you have to offer, and who's going to be interested in you, which is going to make them more comfortable referring traffic to you. Sorry, that might have been a bit wordy. I hope that made sense to everyone. Anyway, getting celebrity status points for posting regularly. People do get attached to specific bloggers, fitness bloggers, food bloggers, travel bloggers. You become almost a celebrity in people's lives. People are going to look forward to what you have to say. If people really liked your review of a local event, a festival, of what it's like to play on this golf course, of what it's like to retire in this community, they're going to want your opinion about other things. You almost become a tabloid. You almost become just something that is a regular part of their information consumption, which is a good thing to be. That makes you a regular staple in their lives, which makes them more likely to share you, which makes them more likely to extend your influence beyond just your natural audience beyond the people you're already connected to.
And what's cool about it is you achieve the point where instead of having these one-on-one relationships, you have one-on-many relationships. And so it is kind of a pain to create the content, but what we see is that, people will refer back. We have a client, well, we had a client, sadly he's passed away, but in Mazatlan, he wrote an article, I don't know, 7 years ago about violence in Mexico. And he was very opinionated. It wasn't particularly well written. He had some misspellings, and he kind of ranted and raved and carried on. And yet, even after he passed, he was still getting hits to that post. So it's one of those things that you do at once, and you can get a whole bunch of traffic in the beginning, and then going forward, you may get some additional traffic. So pretty cool stuff. All right, Casey, back to you.
I'm answering a question really quick. So let me just answer it out loud. Someone was, it was Beth. She was asking if it was possible to move content from the old Point2 blog to the new WordPress one. So I believe this is going to be something that happens automatically. We have run into a couple issues where the pictures aren't transferring correctly, or it's maybe summarizing the content or cutting a few things off. We've actually been doing it a little more manually lately, just to make sure that everything looks good. We're very concerned with branding and making sure that everything's got a good coat of polish on it. Like Kathy said, that guy was getting traffic on this entry even years later. So we want to make sure that that everything is ready for the amount of attention that we're trying to get it.
And Marty P. just interjected that Point2 helped her do it, so that would be an option, is to call Point2 customer service and have them. I also want to read this. Vaughn just commented, Dale Carnegie said, once you have lived the experience, then you have earned the right to talk about it. Speak from the heart for convincing, engaging content. That is absolutely brilliant, and it fits in a little bit further into the webinar, but it's something to really take to heart. You guys are on the ground, and you know things that other people don't know. You see things with a different perspective, and so we really encourage you to jump in and be this official source for local information, because people are hungry for information, and we've become so used to being able to find anything we want any time of the day or night with just a few simple clicks. So anything else you want to say about this slide, Casey, before I move on?
No, I think I'm ready.
Okay, there we go. So next up, you're going to give your listings a shout out. Who here is in business to sell listings? Anybody that's not? Yeah, right. So how is this going to help us, Casey?
So again, with the traditional Point2 blog, the model was that it would essentially copy and paste your listing descriptions and grab some pictures from it and just use those keywords as a way to draw more people to it. Now that we're having to do that a little more manually, I think that's actually a good thing. It's an opportunity to pick your best pictures. So a lot of people have between 10 and 20 pictures on every listing. So your goal is to pick 2 or 3. And make sure that they're your best ones. And of course, a picture is worth 1,000 words, so make sure that you're describing this property in a fresh, original way. We want to make sure that we're avoiding any potential copyright issues, so I'd like to encourage you not to just do a copy paste of the existing description, but maybe take the time to just rewrite that stuff. And that doesn't mean just rearranging the sentences, putting the middle at the beginning and the beginning at the end. It means just taking time to write it out again. And that will make sure that your listing is original content, that Google does not see a conflict there, and that it's going to reach an audience. And again, go ahead.
Okay, Casey, I just want to make a clarification. The first time I saw this slide, I thought Casey was saying that we had to have 1,000 words in our blog or 1,000 words in our description of our listing, and I was just like, oh, there is so no way. But that's not actually what this means.
Right. Just like a normal content page on a website, you want to go for 300 to 500 words if you can. Google's going to consider anything less than that just kind of a weak page. So, if you can, be verbose, use a lot of description terms. Just make sure you're talking about this because remember, it's someone's potential home. This is something that someone's consider investing a lot of money in and investing a lot of time in, and they'll spend a lot of their lives there. So, taking the time to make a good full description will really help people connect with it and feel like it could be their home.
And a couple things on that. Remember that the search engines cannot see your pictures and they don't understand abbreviations. So you could have a picture of a beautiful swimming pool spilling into the ocean and it would be very clear to a visitor that might get there. But if you don't use those words, swimming pool, ocean view, ocean front, the visitor's not going to get there because Google's not going to know to send them. The other thing that Google's not really good with is abbreviations. And those of you that have been in the industry for a while probably remember when you were very limited in the descriptions as to how many characters you could use. And so you got used to putting 2BD/2BTH. And a visitor, a human being, could read that and know what it was, but the search engines don't. So it's really important that you spell everything out, that you don't use abbreviations, you don't use slashes, you use words, because if you want to make Google go gaga, you got to use words.
So there were a couple more quick questions I'd love to address out loud. Vaughn was talking about how he did hire a professional photographer to make sure that the quality was really, really good. That's a huge deal. I don't know if any of you are familiar with the term clickbait, but a good picture, like an enticing picture, is way more likely to be clicked on than sort of a dimly lit, bad angle or straight on kind of no imagination shot. So even if you're just shooting space, if you can capture it correctly, then people are way more likely to be engaged and interested than if it were captured, in a dark, from a dark angle on a cell phone. Just a thought. Describing a future worth investing in. This kind of goes back to what I said earlier. This is someone's home. This is going to be somewhere that they spend every day of their lives or maybe half of their year or something like that. So describing it in a personal way that makes them feel connected to it, that helps them build trust, that makes them feel like you care about this and you care about what you do, is really going to help build that trust and build that relationship and make them feel connected to the listings. If you can do this on a regular basis, people are going to fall in love with your listings. People are going to not be able to wait to see them, which I think is going to be really good for everyone. And of course, name dropping the main selling points. Kathy was referring to this earlier where she was talking about make sure you mention beachside, make sure you mention golf course access. These are things that you do want to mention on every listing that it applies to. So don't feel like you're overusing that term. If you've got 10 ocean view listings, you're going to want to mention it on every single one of them. You're probably going to want to mention it 2 times each, 3 times each, something like that. Just talk about it because those are the things that are going to connect it with Google and make sure Google knows that it's, this is an ocean view, this is a beachfront, this is a golf course community home, this is a gated community, high security, whatever it is that people are interested in. The more you use those terms, the more Google's going to understand. And of course, this is a bit technical. I'm just going to throw it out there. Keyword density is important. So it's important to use, like if you're doing 300 to 500 words, you want to use that keyword 3 to 5 times. And that's about it. You don't want to use it 10 times because that's oversaturation, but you don't want to use it once either because then it's just going to consider it as the same value as any other term in the entire blog.
And you want to think about different people use different words. So some people would say ocean view, other people would say ocean front, or they might say beach view, beach front. And so you have an opportunity to use a lot of different keywords. And some of you that are bilingual, we highly recommend that you write both the blog and the description in English and Spanish, because you will get a lot more traffic if you take advantage of that opportunity. So for those of you that can do it, absolutely jump in, and then just sit back and think, you know, what would people in other parts of the world, what kinds of words would they use? Funny story, well, I think it's funny. I'm from Kansas, and we do things a little different there. When we go to the grocery store, we take our food home in a sack, and we drink pop, and then we do the whoosh. So someone in a different area may use different terms than you do. In Puerto Vallarta, they use the word villa a lot. And in Mazatlan, which is only 6 hours away, they almost never use the word villa. However, if I was in Mazatlan and I thought I might be getting some interest from people in Puerto Vallarta, I would want to use the word villa because people there would be using it. So try to expand on your keyword. Casey, any thoughts on that?
I just have similar funny stories, but that definitely gets the point across.
There we go. Okay, next one. I was a little nervous about this slide, but I decided to go with it because it just illustrates the point, is that you want to convert your visitors, right? I mean, that's the point. So Casey's going to talk about how to do that, and we've got some pretty funny slides, I think, to illustrate it.
Sure. So one way to get some extra exposure here for the individual listing pages is to combine a blog listing promotion with the Point2 featured listings. So a lot of you have pro or...
Hold on, I'm going to pull that off.
There.
There we go. Okay.
Okay. A lot of you have a Point2 Pro account or a Point2 Elite account, and both of these accounts allow you to promote a listing on Point2 Homes, which is a really big deal because you're going to get a lot more traffic referring to you from Point2 Homes. Like before, I was talking about creating the relationship where your blog is going to refer people to your main site. Well, Point2 Homes can also refer people to your main site if you have a Pro or an Elite account. So anytime you happen to be blogging about a listing, I recommend combining it with the Point2 featured listings on Point2 Homes, and that will essentially guarantee that that listing is getting way more attention than normal, which can definitely help speed up the turnover process. Promote the showing and the follow-up. So a lot of you have links to these kinds of things on the, I believe these are by default on the listing pages, like book a showing, book a follow-up, contact us for more information, these kind of things. So these are the kinds of links that you can also put in the blog entry. You can make sure people have direct access to this. If you write a really awesome description and have some really great pictures, don't make them click around to find it. Sometimes they want to talk to you immediately. So giving them that link, like book a showing now, book a follow-up, ask a question, that allows them to engage in the way that they want to immediately rather than putting more clicks and more scrolling and more searching between them and you.
And that goes back to the rule of don't make them think, just let them click. And so anytime you're writing, whether it's a web page or a blog entry, you want to have those links, and they also help interconnect your site and help with its SEO. So just always be thinking links in the back of your head.
Mm-hmm. And of course, make it soulful. It is important to be very genuine and very honest. You want to make sure that that you're connecting with people on a deep level. I mentioned before that this is like a very long, commitment for some people. They're going to live in this house for the rest of their lives, or for at least a while. So making sure you connect with them on a very sincere human level. It's not just hype. It's not just fancy words. That it's you're really taking the time to describe and make this an accurate experience for them, but also something that sticks in their mind. Make sure that you're describing things in a unique way, not just repeating the same words and phrases and punchlines that you used on the other listings.
And I'm going to jump in because I've had two people message me. They wanted me to repeat the Dale Carnegie quote that Vaughn provided. So it says, once you have lived the experience, then you have earned the right to talk about it. Speak from the heart for convincing, engaging content. And I think that's extremely important here. So we'll post that as well. We'll send out a follow email, and I'll do that quote because that seems to have resonated with a lot of you. Okay, so Casey, how does this all connect with social media?
So social media is very like a blog because social media is another way to connect with people and refer them to your site. However, social media is a lot more daily. It's a lot more regular than your site is going to be. People are going to come to that site because once or twice in their lifetime to buy a house. People don't buy houses every weekend, but people are going to go to social media 3 to 4 times a day sometimes. So social media is going to allow you to connect with them like the blog on a more regular basis. So social media is a good way to promote your blog. So for example, if you did write about an upcoming festival, an upcoming event in your area, if you are talking about why people like to retire in your area, putting that out on social media is a really good idea. That's going to allow you to just draw more people that aren't necessarily Googling these terms, people that are just following you on Facebook, family, friends. That'll give it a little bit of initial traffic, which will boost it in the rankings and make Google more confident to point more people to it in the future. So once you've made the effort to write this blog, you might as well echo that effort throughout social media and throughout whatever channels that you have access to other people.
Including your engagement marketing, whether you're using Constant Contact or MailChimp or just emailing direct, anytime you have a blog, you really want to promote it via that, because one of the things that that will do is it will help you repeat traffic, people going back to your site, and Google always gives more weight. If you have 100 visitors today, but 10 of them were there last month, those 10 have more weight than the other 90. So you want to make sure that you're maximizing. You write this blog and you want to get as much exposure for it as you possibly can, which is kind of why we call this webinar sexy, because it's about exposure.
So promoting regularly, anytime you can post on social media, anytime you can get those likes, those shares, those comments, those are very, very valuable in terms of making sure that it's going to get exposed to more people. I don't know if you've noticed, but sometimes it's the hardest to get the first 10 likes or the first 10 shares or the first 10 comments. However, once you get to that point, sometimes things spiral. That's how they actually go viral, because Facebook and other social media outlets, they have an algorithm, and once they see that a lot of people have engaged with something, they're willing to show it to a lot more. Gives it that credibility that we were talking about by linking and by connecting. So someone commenting, someone liking, someone sharing is a way of vouching for it, which makes them want to show it to more people. And of course, continue to connect on a human level. The blog allows you to talk about more than just selling houses. It allows you to talk about the community. It allows you to talk about things that people think about on a daily basis. Maybe you just offer advice about top 10 ways to improve your property value, top 10 ways to get the most out of your retirement. Things like that are things that your target audience is interested in on a regular basis. So posting that on your blog and then promoting it on social media allows you to have an extended presence in their lives beyond just selling that home. And if they trust you, if they are watching you on a regular basis, they're going to be much more interested in sharing that content outwards and inviting their friends to engage with you and being a referral and an advocate for you and for your business.
Okay, so y'all see I jumped ahead because this is my part. Expose your personality. And, Casey's excellent at all the technical stuff. I sometimes glaze over that and I want to just get to the branding. So we're going to briefly talk about this. And one of the things that I feel like is really important is to have an opinion and to write like you talk. So on a web page, your language may be more structured, more formal, but on a blog, I personally feel that it's endearing to write like you talk. So y'all might have noticed that sometimes I say so a lot and sometimes I say y'all. And so on a blog, that would be really appropriate. Karen says that she's like that as well. It's also important to be opinionated and to expose who you are. Some of you may have noticed that this particular presentation is, it's a little off the wall. It's a little out there. It's not your normal three-piece suit, stuffy business presentation. And we do that very specifically because it attracts the kinds of clients that we want to work with. And so the same thing with a blog. If you're exposing your personality, you're going to attract other people that are like you, and we all know that it's more fun, and quite frankly, it's easier to work with somebody who has similar thoughts and styles of doing things. Oops, how did that happen? Well, somebody messed up a slide. That would be me. So you want to think hyper-local and share and comment on other people's content. So you don't have to write every single blog yourself. Sometimes the blog could just be you commenting on somebody else's content that you see that you think is appropriate, and maybe you have a different spin on. I know there was a lot of blogging going on during the U.S. presidential election, and we won't get into politics. However, people had, strong opinions, and they didn't always start from scratch. They would take something from the Huffington Post or take something from another source and just comment on it. So I think that's also a good way to structure it. And the last thing, and I really want to stress this, is that you need to develop a signature and focus on branding yourself and your content. And so your signature could be a variety of different things. Maybe you're the person that has 6 kids ranging from preschool to college, and they're all in the community schools, and so you're the one that's super involved with everything that's going on. Maybe you're the person, I think this is kind of fun, Vaughn, our new client, he works with his wife, and his URL is Spouses That Sell Houses. And up until this point, at least on the internet, he hasn't really capitalized on that. But going forward, we're going to work with him to move him forward. Can you mute whoever that is that's coming in? So you want to really develop a signature and focus on branding that signature. So question for you all, time to interact here. Who has or wants to guess what the Cyber Kazoo crew's signature might be? Anybody have any clue? Any idea? Okay, creative. Yeah, I would agree with that. What about these crazy photos? Anybody notice that we like to use a lot of interesting fun? Vaughn says we're fun. Yes, we are a lot of fun. We're very creative, wacky, spirited. I like that. Open-minded. Yep, those all work. We just want to always portray ourselves in the same light. And we kind of ran in, and I want to show you this example. We did a blog a couple weeks ago, and our initial take on it was this: Constant Contact versus MailChimp. And that's an okay graphic. It's very professional, but does it grab anything? It's not offensive, but it's not great. And so it was on our blog, and it was just sort of annoying. It was one of those things I would wake up in the middle of the night and think, what could I do that would be better? And so yesterday I came up with really what we were talking about was boxers or briefs. And so we changed that on our blog, and I think it's a much more effective graphic and much more our personality. So, just figure out 3 things that you want to be. For me personally, it's approachable. I always want to be approachable. I always want to be creative, and I always want to be energetic. And so those are the 3 things that I'm looking at, and the 3 things that I want to convey in my blog. So we had one question I want to go back to, Casey, really quickly. Robin asked, and I want you to expand on this, if the 300 to 500 words needs to be the same that are in your listings or different. So can you expand on that one more time quickly?
Sure. So this is one of the things that Google has changed about the way the internet works. I think this is one of the things that actually drove Point2 to consider a separate WordPress model to begin with. Google really is pushing everyone to have original content. This prevents sites from just copying and pasting content from any other site and pretending that it's their original content. Google can tell, it can tell very quickly. So for this reason, I do recommend writing an original description on your blog, even if you're describing the same listing that you've already written a description for. That way, you can recapture and reimagine those same words, and there will be no potential issue of plagiarism or, you know, no potential penalization for using the same content again.
Can you imagine if somebody just joined the webinar right now and this was the slide they saw? That would be pretty funny, I think. Okay, so we've got roughly 11 minutes left, and I want to just talk about some options from this point. So those of you that remember, I don't remember what it was, The Price is Right or some game show, we had behind door number 1, door number 2, and door number 3. Everybody get ready because we're going to ask you to participate and find out where you are after hearing some of this information. And again, remember that we could do an all-day seminar on this, you know, condensing it into an hour. We had to really just pick and choose what we thought were the highlights. So now that you know this, who would like to just ignore the blog and do nothing? Okay, nobody's saying that? Cool, because guess what? If you do that, here's what Google sees. A big black hole. And guess what Google thinks about the big black hole? They don't like it very much. Connie says she's going to get back into blogging. Evidently she was doing it before. She's down in Cabo San Lucas, beautiful area if you haven't been there. So option 1 is to do nothing, and it sounds like you guys are not going to do that, so that's great. Option 2 is to engage, do it yourself. This can be frustrating. There is an excellent link, and we'll send this out to you guys. Point2 did a great job of creating a tutorial of how to do this and walk you through it. And how many people out there feel like you're pretty techie and you feel good about that? All right. Okay. I'm not sure if I'm saying this right. Mr. Zaffer says that yes, he will. Kevin Peterson says awesome. He's going to check it out. So Robin is a master blogger, people. Let me tell you, Mexico Beach Bum, I'm not sure what hers looks like. I haven't looked at it recently, but in terms of content, she rocks. Beth says she's a good student. So, you know, this sounds like an opportunity for a lot of you. Hopefully I won't be too frustrated. It's a learning curve, and you know, our developers spent a lot of time figuring it out and making it work. So that brings us to the third option. Oh, here's an example. This is one of our clients in Rocky Point who is doing it himself. I'm sure that he'll be changing this picture out because clearly this is not anything to do with Rocky Point. And one of the things that's a little frustrating is that from the blog there's no clear way to get back to your Point2 site. So the third option is to delegate it to the Kazoo crew. And these are our people, writers, programmers, graphic designers, translators. If it's something that you don't want to do yourself and you want a blog that looks more like this, we are more than happy to help you with that. You can go to our website. There's a little place that says it'll show you the portfolio of our blogs, and then it will also show you the pricing, so you can get that. But what if there's a fourth door? One of the things that we've been talking, somebody wants us to show some of our blogs. I will do that super, super quickly because we're getting to the end and I want to make sure that we have time. Oops, wrong thing. Blog portfolio. There we go. So you can go here and take a look. This is another one down in Rocky Point. You can take a look at these different blogs and the layouts. You'll see that we have links back to the sites. Pretty excited about that. But the question that Casey and I have been asking ourselves, because we're getting so many questions about this blog, is what if there was a fourth door? What if you had the opportunity to do it yourself but with help? And so we're just considering this. At this point we have a do it for you option. We don't have a do it with you. But I want to explain it and really see what the interest might be. So if we were to put together a class on this topic, and it would be a series of weekly assignments, webinars, tools, a Facebook group where you would have opportunity for peer feedback and peer interaction. Of this group, how many people have an interest in that? How many people think that that would be nice, love it? Will it be a step-by-step? Good idea. Yes, very interested. Love it, Macarena. Oh, hi, Macarena. How are things in where are you, Belize? That's awesome. Good. Hello from Belize. Yes, my mom was just in Belize last month. She's headed down again soon, so maybe we'll get to see you. Okay, so it sounds like there possibly is some interest in that. So let Casey and I kind of work on that, put some things together, and get back to you. We will have an email going out at the end of the week that will have a link to all these slides. Kevin's saying, I like this one, depending on how much of a time commitment. Okay, so let me tell you, it is a time commitment. It's going to be, if you'd rather be out selling real estate than sitting in front of a computer, then you probably want to just either ignore it or hire us to do it. And Casey, you may want to disagree with me on this. Has anybody ever heard the thing, anytime two people agree all the time, one of them is not necessary? That really applies to Casey and I because we disagree frequently. However, I strongly believe that if you're not going to do the blog at least 60 to 70% well, don't do it at all. I hate, beyond hate, when I go to a blog and the last time they entered something was in 2010. So would you agree with that?
Yeah, if basically you are committing to at least writing the content or having someone that will. Otherwise, it's not worth the investment. But it's really going to be worth the investment if you're committing to creating or contributing content on a regular basis.
And you are going to have to invest either time or money, and possibly both. So just sort of keep that in mind. If we do the class, the idea would be to engage and empower you. So we'll look, let's see, we're getting so many comments. We'll go back and read all of these and consolidate them. I've got 4 minutes left, so I just want to wrap up. We saw who was interested. I want to just talk about our next webinar. We have committed to a webinar every 2 weeks. We're super excited about it. And the next one will launch our Cyber Celebrity Series. That will be on January 26th. And you'll all get an invitation to that. It's going to feature Warren Brander. And he's got a dynamite site down in Puerto Vallarta. He's getting ready to launch a second site. And he's going to come on and just do a Q&A with me and with all of you as to how he has achieved the level of success online that he's got. So please go through and mark your calendars for that. It'll be the same time. That's on a Thursday, January 26th. One of the frequent questions that we get all of the time, over and over and over, probably the most frequent question, and that is, what kind of guarantee can you offer? If I invest all of my time or invest my money, what can you guarantee me? And the reality is we don't have a guarantee, except for this one really specific thing, and that is a year from now, you will have wished you started today. And we hear that over and over and over again. So be on the lookout for all of these resources that we're going to send you. Go to the Point2 help manual and take a look at that. Go to our website. Anything else, Casey, you'd like to say to wrap it up before we let these fine folks free?
I think that's it. Just know that we have contact information on our site if you'd like to follow up with either of us individually.
Okay, and you can also, I'll just go back to our site really quick because I've got 2 minutes left. On our site, we have a really cool new system where you can meet with us, and you can just go on here and decide if you are a current client and you'd like to meet, or if you are a potential client, if you just have some questions. We have an awesome site review, so if anybody wants a site review, that runs $125. And it's applicable to your purchase of $750 or more during the first 30 days. We appreciate your time. Vaughn's got one more thing to say. In the end, the only thing holding any of us back is our own self-limiting beliefs. And Vaughn, you're brilliant. Can you come please to all of our webinars and offer your insight? Guys, just go out there, get it done. We appreciate you all, and we look forward to seeing you in 2 weeks and 2 days and talking to you between now and then. All right, take care, guys. Bye.